My name is Jonah. One day God spoke to me. It was a clear command. Go to Nineveh. Nineveh was a massive city, full of people doing terrible, violent things. God wanted me to go there, walk among them, and tell them that because of their wickedness, His judgment was coming soon. Honestly, I didn't want to go. These were cruel people, our enemies in many ways. I didn't want them to hear God's message. I didn't want them to repent. In my heart, I guess I wanted God to just punish them already. And that's the first lesson I learned the hard way. God's plans and His heart for mercy are often much bigger than our own narrow views. So instead of obeying, I decided to run. I went down to the port city of Joppa and found a ship heading in the complete opposite direction, far away to Tarshish. I paid my fare and got on board, thinking I could put enough distance between me and God's command. Spoiler, you cannot run from God. He is everywhere, and you can't hide from His presence or His purpose for you. We set sail, and for a while things were calm. But soon God sent a storm. Not just any storm, this was a terrifying, violent tempest. The ship was being tossed around, about to break. The sailors, tough as they were absolutely terrified, crying out to their own gods and throwing cargo overboard to lighten the ship. They knew this storm was unnatural. They cast lots to figure out whose fault it was, and of course, the lot fell on me. I had to tell them the truth. I was a Hebrew. I worshipped the God of heaven who made the sea and the land, and I was running from Him. They were even more afraid then. They asked what to do to stop the storm. I told them, throw me into the sea. This storm is because of me. They really didn't want to. They tried rowing harder to get back to land, but the storm was too strong. Finally, they prayed to my God, asking for mercy, and threw me into the raging waters. The moment I went over the side, the storm stopped. The sea became calm. This showed me God's absolute power over all of creation. He controls the wind and the waves, and even storms obey His command. As I sank into the water, I thought I was going to drown. But God had other plans. He sent a massive fish to swallow me whole. Inside that fish, it was dark. It was foul-smelling. It was like a watery, living tomb. For 3 days and 3 nights, I was trapped there, in the belly of the great fish. It was a consequence of my disobedience. Sometimes running from God leads us to dark, uncomfortable places we never expected. But even in that dark place, surrounded by seaweed wrapped around my head, I cried out to God. From the depths of my despair, I prayed. I remembered His promises. I confessed my sin, and I cried out for His mercy. Even when we are at our lowest point, even when we are in a situation of our own making, God is still there. He hears our prayers when we turn to Him, even from the belly of a fish. And God heard me. He commanded the fish, and it swam to shore and spit me out onto dry land. I was alive, given a second chance. Then God spoke to me again. The same command as before. Go to Nineveh. This time I went. After 3 days in a fish, you tend to listen better. I traveled to Nineveh, that huge city. I walked in and began to preach God's message. In 40 days, Nineveh will be destroyed. And the most astonishing thing happened. The people of Nineveh believed God. The king himself and everyone in the city, from the highest to the lowest, responded. They called for a fast. They put on sackcloth. They sat in ashes, all to show they were truly sorry for their sins. They turned from their wicked ways and cried out to God for mercy. God saw what they did. He saw that they had genuinely turned from their sin. And because of His great mercy, God chose not to bring the destruction He had planned. He spared Nineveh. This was a powerful lesson. God's mercy is available to anyone, no matter how wicked they seem, if they truly repent and turn to him. God's mercy is immense, and his love extends far beyond our understanding or our willingness to grant it to others. So that's the story of Jonah, the prophet who tried to run, got swallowed by a fish, and learned about God's powerful presence, the consequences of disobedience, the reality of God's judgment, and most importantly, the incredible, sometimes inconvenient, wideness of God's mercy. It was quite the journey. If you like this story and want to hear other beautiful stories from the Bible, like this video and follow or subscribe to our channel for more.